So look, we got all three of us again, which
Back.
is it's been hard to do in these fatherhood streets. But we got a special guest with us today. Man, he's one of the founders of one of the most legendary crews in hip hop, the Hieroglyphics crew. He's released multiple solo albums along with other albums from his crew that have all been critically acclaimed. And most importantly, he's a father. So welcome, Casual, to the show.
Yeah.
Peace, and blessings.
The
Thanks
legend,
for having me. How y'all doing?
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man?
All right. All is well.
You still in the Bay Area?
I'm Central California right now, and it's
Okay.
good that straight up have my little girls. I was like, I'm out. So we talking about fatherhood. We'll get into that because Oakland was the environment. I had young girls, and I was like, time to
yeah.
Right. How many total children do you have? Is it just your two girls?
I actually got 5 daughters.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
So I got my 2 twin daughters, 27 years old, and then their older stepsister, and then I got my younger daughters, 16 and about to be 18 in a couple days.
Someone would say that's karma, that you was a player and then you got all.
Man, I don't know, but I never actually. As I started getting older, I was like, I need to have a son. But as I was growing up, I never really tripped. I just wanted kids. I wanted offspring. I never even thought about genders. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so it wasn't one of those like, yo, 1, okay, girl. All right, let's try for a boy. 2, 4.
No. But because when you're young, you make a lot of dumb mistakes, and so you know what I mean. And so who knows? I don't want to go there, but. You know how that is when you're young and making decisions about you gonna keep it, you never know what you had that you didn't keep if you want to really go all the way there on the fatherhood. So I never even really wanted a gender. As I started getting older, I'm like, we need to get a young buck running around here.
So is the same mother for all 5?
Not at all. So I got a baby mama and my wife.
Okay.
Oh,
just to speak frankly,
so 2 women.
Yes.
The 5 children. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard worse scenarios, so that doesn't seem crazy to me.
Yeah,
not at all.
Seems manageable.
So you can go look at my first album. I got my 2 twin daughters. I'm holding them on my arms. I think it not first album, but I think it was on Think He Raw, like my second studio release. Yeah.
Oh.
So what's the ages of all 5?
Yeah, we got the older ones graduated from Georgia State.
Oh, congrats.
Bulldogs is Georgia State, right?
Yeah, Bulldogs.
Yeah, okay. I'll make sure I said that right. And they about 27 now doing real estate in the Bay. Woo. And then again, we got the younger 16 and about to be 18. Yeah. About to graduate, you know what I'm saying?
How's college? Like, we're gonna be all over the map here, but like how was because I got a 16-year-old. She's she's gonna be 16. She's my oldest. And our head is like, yo, college is right there. Mm-hmm. It's our first one going to college. The financial piece of it is one.
Mm-hmm.
Does she want to leave home to go to college or no?
Yeah, she's been we talking about Sydney, my daughter. She's so it's like this, because y'all know how it be. She has some height on her. So our first thing was, you playing hoop. You know what I'm saying? and she was she's really a natural athlete. She did good, made varsity at a basketball school. You know what I'm saying, her freshman year, but then had some changes. And like I said, I played football on an undefeated team at Skyline in Oakland in 1989 and quit the next year because I wanted to be a rapper. And so my daughter rather artistic, and I ain't the one to force you into nothing. She kind of moved away from that, but that was our initial plan to like help us with school. It ain't about WNBA. The plan is always to get some help with the school and the scholarships. And so I started financially being like, oh, okay, well, if that's not going to be we got to figure something out. But lo and behold, California got really cheap state schools, you know what I'm saying? Universities may be different, but the state schools just as good, and they're not as expensive. She qualified for a few scholarships and did her thing without even worrying about the sports. And so it was just overall testament to, you could do it academically too. You ain't got to like try to go be playing for 4 years to get your free ride. She still got a relatively free ride, you know what I'm saying?
That's good.
You hearing that, Manny? Because Manny's on kind of this path as well.
Yeah, so my daughter, she's a basketball player. She also made the varsity team at as a freshman. Not a basketball school. Like, it's all right, but it ain't like a powerhouse or anything. But that's literally kind of what we was thinking. It's like we're not trying to push her to be a student athlete if she doesn't want to be. Because for us, that's a lot of pressure, right? And like, she's really good on her academics. So we're like encouraging that and like, yo, if you're going to feel stressed, it's probably the best place to be stressed. Don't let the sports stuff kind of get in the mix. But she's really into hoops. She doesn't seem to want to play like collegiately, but the more she plays in high school, the more that itch, I think, is there. But you know, so it's tough. But did your daughters went in state, you said? So they were
so now my older daughters who graduated lived in Georgia. They're twins.
Oh, right.
They're twins, and they went to Georgia State. Yeah, they stayed with their mom, and she did really well. And they also had something going on in Georgia where if they qualified, they got scholarships, and so academic scholarships as well. And so for me, I've been dodging the bullet but my discussions with my children now are, about this school debt that they're going to be accumulating, in ways that we could work that off as we are taking this aid and assistance, and these scholars. Some of them is just scholars like that, but other stuff is like, yo, you are going to still be accumulating some debt. And so that's the next discussion we're moving into.
We got to get them pardons for these loans.
You know what I'm saying? So they coming with that.
Stop messing around.
Did that already pop off, or is just like
it got blocked? It got blocked.
That's just super political.
Yeah, it got blocked.
Changes.
Should swap.
Let's take this back on some hip hop shit.
Yeah.
So your oldest been there pretty much since the beginning. The twins, right?
Yeah.
So how did
not
you?
the biggity because I
mean,
got
early
signed
enough.
93.
Early enough.
Early enough. Yeah.
Like, how did you even more, because you already started, you had your deal, you're already doing it, it's already a career for you. How did you balance that? Because that's really the thing for people in this, in this culture and as a career.
Yeah, and especially at that point, because you guys are like taking off. In that whole 93, 94, you guys got the spotlight on you.
Well, I got to give a lot of credit to their mom for not making it as problematic as it could have been for me in those time periods. I never dealt with any of the child support issues or any of the things that people, that hold you back or hinder you from even moving. I got people who couldn't do certain tours because of particular issues. You get into those issues, your license, your passport, and things go away. And so keeping a cool relationship with the mother of my children was key to me, because I just never wanted to have to answer to some judges and stuff about a relationship that I started and my responsibilities in that relationship. Also, I have to be honest, I had a pretty good support system around me, and I got a lot of daughters, but I got a lot of sisters too, you know what I'm saying? And so I was my father's only son, and so they got a lot of aunties and a lot of people who made it really easy for even me in my absence. Say I wanted to be on tour, it's nothing, we got the girls, it's nothing. Say that because they now up until about 7 years old, they actually lived in California. Okay. And then they moved into Atlanta after that point. And so then once they moved away, it was less trying to, it's not even cool really parenting at a distance, but you do as much as you can. And then it's really not cool parenting at a distance if you ain't balling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to say no sometimes and stuff. And saying no at a distance is almost a worst thing for a father, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so having to deal with all of that, you got to stay on the road. You got to stay working, because you don't want no to become like a poverty policy. You know what I'm saying? You don't even understand that you saying no because of all these other reasons, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to be a no dad. Basically.
Yeah, going into that real quick, how hard was that? I mean, even though you're on the road and everything, but you're used to having your girls at least, in close proximity, and now they're across the country. What was that transition like for you, and how long did it take you to kind of adjust, even if you did? I don't know if you did.
I probably never did, but it was really hard, and that's when the fighting started because I wouldn't say you could just take my kids and go, but you know how I go with the permissions and all that stuff, and then my daughter's not understanding the absence. I live in Cali, I ain't go nowhere, like since they know now that someone made a decision that took me out of their life. Like that, you know what I'm saying? But it still wasn't like I'm gone. It wasn't one of those. It was like
malicious,
economic.
Right?
Yeah, everybody from Cali was moving to Atlanta economically, and their mom thought it benefited them because they graduated with scholarships from Georgia State. But kids don't understand that at a young age, you know what I'm saying? And you used to being with your girls, you could imagine, you know what I'm saying, how many different ways you got to figure out how to vent that energy, or you might just be on Judge Judy, or you know what I'm saying, just typical, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that it's girls too. Like I feel like as a father, you want to be very like, of course you care about boy or girl, don't matter, but girls you just feel extra protective of as a father.
Yeah, you don't even. I don't got sons, but I'm slapping my sons up because they gotta come out tough. You feel me? I ain't slapping my daughters up, and so you don't think about nothing rough. You think gentle about daughters. I mean, some people may think gentle about their sons, but I want to wrestle a son and show them leg locks and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that would be the difference. Your daughters are like precious, and your sons are rough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got two little ones. My son is 2 and my daughter's 4. I do play rougher with my son than I did with my daughter at the same age, but I do try to like rough up my daughter every once in a while just to get her used to it. Yeah, and then I got her in like karate and shit. I'm like, yo, you need to learn how to defend yourself. I don't want you to be a pushover as a girl. So I try, but it's definitely not the same. With the boy, I'm a little extra.
Well, it seems like the girls, from my experience, I got grandsons, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm dealing with them at 4 and 5 right now. They crazy. Set it off. But girls, I mean, like, you got to stop them from going at each other. But girls, they'll get to that point over some reasons, but they got a different brain, and conflicting ain't the way to work things out for them initially. So once they start getting out into the world is when I'll be like, man, you about to start going to school now. Come hit this bag, just learn how to punch straight and not down like girls, because you'll have an advantage if you ever got into any type of debuncle or whatever.
So talking about like, roughing up your kids and just in general, but like I try to do that with my son. I have one son, I have 2 daughters, and I definitely do play more aggressively with my son. But my oldest daughter, she likes to tussle too. So we get it, we get it popping. But like the other day, my son tells me, Dad, I don't like it when you do that. And my immediate reaction was
punch him.
Well, right. to do it more, right? Because like as dudes, like if your friend was like, nah, chill, B, you're like, nah, bam, bam, bam. You double down, right? So that was my immediate reaction. I kind of went at it with him, like a little bit more aggressive. And then he started to cry. And I was like, shit. I just crossed the line. Yes.
Come on, man.
Way to go, Manny.
So there it is. But like
father.
But I stop and I'm like, yo, I'm apologizing and I back off. And then I'm like thinking like my own, how I grew up, right? And like that to me, in a nutshell, is kind of like this social like expectation when it comes to boys, right? Like the roughhousing and all that kind of shit. But you miss the respect factor, especially when it's like parent to child. And like taking what they have to say seriously in that context, I didn't. And so it's almost like ignoring and, not really respecting.
Like he was trying to set boundaries to an extent. And you were like, fuck your boundaries.
Exactly. So long-winded way of asking you a question, Casual, like, and again, you have girls, so roughhousing may not have been the the activity or what have you that may have resulted into this, but like, have you encountered that where you kind of dismissed what they had to say and didn't really take it seriously, where it might have caused a rift in your relationship?
I not necessarily with roughhousing, but I may have experiences with that. But I would have to speak more towards my grandsons because one of them is, he's not naturally rough, but and encountering a situation like that where I noticed his boundary and didn't want to. It was kind of like me taking a moment to explain to him, I'm messing with you so you can figure out a way to make me stop without asking me to. Because you're going to have to figure that out in life too. Like you're going to have to figure out, even if you see my hand coming, push it to the side. Like, and then you won, at least that one. I'm talking about explaining to someone very little. Right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like about to make it like you gotta, you ain't gotta be Chun-Li. But you know what I'm saying? You could start investing some thought in moving, and you don't have to just stand there. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can do some things too to help yourself. And then that's not for, I mean, that was only for that one incident where I was able to flip it, because the regret you feel, and I hate regret, especially fatherly regret, the regret that you feel when you messed up,
right?
It'll be lasting for some weeks, yo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
We losing sleep over that.
Exactly. And so I'll be on eggshells about my children's mentality and sense of, like, even if one of my daughters mad at me, I'll be like, oh, she's mad at me. Okay, well, okay, today's day one. Like, I'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna make her no matter, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna wait and see when she actually starts back speaking to me. But I'm gonna keep on speaking. My daughter will just not speak. Like, if she's mad, she'll just walk in my room. And I'm like, she really tight. But I'm not gonna act like the 70s. My parents demand respect. You best to speak. That's just, excuse my language.
Nah, you good?
No, we cursing like a motherfucker.
Yeah, that right there didn't work. And so letting them come to their own realization. I know I'm going off the subject of what we started with, but letting them come to the realization that they might be acting like a asshole or whatever. And then she starts saying, hi, Dad, the next morning, and I'll be like, family, that took like 5 days of me just not even pushing her, putting no more pressure on her and letting her realize I didn't have really no bad intent for her, So.
That reminds me, my daughter's similar, and she loves to like get under my skin, and she'd be like, you know what? I love mommy. I don't love you. Nice. But she thinks it's gonna get a reaction out of me. So instead, I'm just like, that's cool. I still love you. No problem. You can love mommy, not love me. I'm still gonna love you. I ain't going nowhere. And that's how I keep it moving. But she be hardcore with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Casual, you dropped a gem a few minutes ago that I want to go back to for a second. The with your grandson, the idea of like teaching them how to get someone to stop or say stop without actually saying the word stop, because that's one of those things. And so I have a son. He's 10. That's my only child, and one of the things that, we're constantly working with him on is just, building that confidence and, making sure that he's not afraid of people, and that he doesn't have to listen to what other kids say or do or whatever. And if someone's being annoying, to shut it down quick so that it doesn't become a continual thing. But I never really approached it, because sometimes he'll come up with like, oh, well, what if I say this? And it'd be like super long-winded, right? And we're like, nah, you got to just keep it real short, and don't get it convoluted. Just make your
point.
Make your point quick, right? But this idea of doing it without actually having to say stop, because a lot of times, especially with kids, he says stop it, even in a strong voice, then the kid's going to just keep going on, right? And he's going to do it even
green
more.
Light.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I got you. All right. It's the rap for you, kid.
So look, I'd like to kind of investigate this a little bit more in terms of the stop without saying it, because that's a good tactic, and I don't think I've ever really explored that.
Well, as we try to throw out jewels to the youngest, sometimes we don't even, we know it's at what we're saying is applicable in that situation, but we probably couldn't even cite a ton of examples for the advice you giving your kids. And so this is why we be coming with the parables like, once there was a boy named Johnny who walked across the street and he got hit by a car. Now, it might not be a true story that you're telling the child, but there is truth in the story, and you want them to get the truth that they shouldn't walk across the street without looking both ways. You know what I'm saying? Well, the same type of thing would be, I mean, I would be trying to expound on something that I didn't have to expound on to the young man at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, but if we give thought along those lines, a lot of youth confidence comes from knowing that you can. Like I'm talking about in situations of where fear starts to come in. We all being young men, and then you might just be walking down the hall and don't know why fear is setting in. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a little group over there, and I don't know, but some type it do lead back down to being. I mean, just the man stuff, yo. We got to be rough again. I know that ain't the answer for everybody, right? But when they get like when we wrestled and stuff, and so much to where I would walk down the street thinking about a move if somebody was about to do something to me. So when I'm just saying, I'm talking about like the ages of 7 through 10, you know, if we don't got nothing to refer to, even like when dad ain't there or when mom ain't there, then we be feeling like abandoned almost and at the mercy of the bully. I mean, that's just, I told you I'm no expert. I'm just giving my
that's
opinion.
real.
Yeah.
It's that, that's so dope because I could think back to maybe like preteen years, and I would be sizing the situation as I'm walking down the street just the same way. Like, all right, if some shit jump off over there, how do I try to survive? And all these, like, I mean, you tap into wrestling, you tap into fucking martial arts movies, you see a piece of glass you see on the floor, like whatever. My kids don't have that ability because they grew up or they're growing up outside of the environment that I grew up. So it's a much better environment. So in today's age, I feel like it's even more complex to instill that kind of, I don't know, innate like skill set.
Yeah, but even at school though, they need it at schools because there's going to be assholes at school, you know, asshole kids at schools, and they just got to be able to learn how to shut them down real quick, you know.
So y'all, I don't know who took karate before, but anybody took karate?
Yeah,
off and on.
So now we know nobody who ever took karate could use it when they had a fight, right? But do you remember the pseudo confidence that it gave you in a group of youngsters? You didn't have to be a pushover in your head. You took karate. And when your friends knew you took karate, they wouldn't want to see what you knew. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not saying that, but things along those lines, they build this confidence at younger ages, even push-ups and little things that you might not believe. Because little men like making muscles and not all of them. Some of them we have to deal with it a different way. That's not the recourse for everyone. But traditionally, man, before we got all these new rules, that was the way. You know what I'm saying? Get your son confident enough to where he ain't tripping. He think he can handle whatever somebody got for him.
Yeah.
And be prepared for the losses, because unfortunately, it's when they have the losses, they actually also build up confidence. Because, you know, sometimes you get punched a couple times, then you're not scared about getting punched again. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I was a fighter, though. I was a fighter, but I like I said, we the things that we're trying to learn how to bring out of our children, the environment brought out of us. I was getting punked so much because I was fat, and only was like 2 type of fat dudes in the hood: the extra cool one or somebody you just picked on and called fat. You know what I'm saying? So when I was first going out, I wasn't cool yet. You feel me? I mean, I was always cool in the hood, but until I started wanting to defend myself and making my fatness be a threat, then everybody, oh, what's up, John? You know, I turned rather cool. But it was really one incident. I'm walking in I'm probably about 11, 12, walking home I wasn't even coming home from middle school, so I had to be younger. Coming home from elementary, probably been like a 6th grader. And the first time I really stood up for myself, like, if I get beat down, I don't care. was over a sandwich. Literally, these 3 dudes, and I remember one of them dead to this day, Orlando, rest in peace. They were young too. They was coming down from the rowdy school. My mom bused me to Montera. They went to King, which was right in my neighborhood. All my homies went to King. I knew everybody at King. They just happened to catch me walking up the hill by myself. They coming down the hill. So up the hill was home base. You see what I'm saying? Because the flatlands, it was cracking. But this one school that was kind of up the hill, bad kids basically would have to walk down to get back to the house. So you might be coming from busing. It still was a conflict. The busing didn't work because you had to cross them on this path. So I'm walking with my sandwich, fat dude, and my clothes were starting to be kind of cool at this point. You know what I'm saying? I think I had like a nice Adidas jacket. Man, these dudes, I already knew this how bad the hood was. I had a sandwich. Yes, and I was like, man, I got the hoagie. Everybody know about the hoagie. And I'm thinking as they're walking, dude, so this is what they tried to do. It was 2 big ones and they little one. And they was like, when they got up on me, they wouldn't let me pass. And they told Orlando, take your sandwich. And I don't know what clicked in my brain. Everything that we want to click in our children's brains clicked in my brain. Whatever, it was probably a roast beef sandwich at that age. And I said, no, you is not taking my sandwich. I was like, what's up? Who want my sandwich? And they was looking like, laughing, like that's not ready to fight over that sandwich. But we didn't fight. And as a young man walking up the hill, to me, that was my first victory. And I was like, I'm doing that every time. Yeah. I was like, anytime somebody want to mess with me, I'm saying, no, what's up? Let's do it. Mm-hmm. And then that changed my demeanor. And then I was known as casual. And that resulted in being smashed because I overdid it and started smashing on everything. That's how I earned that nickname anyway.
Man, so wait, that's amazing to have the click, the fucking finally clicks right there.
The roast beef sandwich.
A roast beef sandwich.
Wait,
so that episode in your life was what earned you the name Casual?
No, not Casual. Oh. So actually that episode was just really when I started taking a more aggressive approach to things in the hood. Like really, I would cry like in cap sessions. Back in the day, we called capping was bagging or playing the dozens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would come home teary-eyed because of things people said about my situation and condition. Then after that, I was like, I'm doing the same thing. I came outside, started being the hardest capper. Like, you're not insulting me and my family. I'm about to talk. Look at your dirty ass pants. Like, so I changed without my father's help because of a conflict that I had the kind of conflicts that we scared to allow our children to have today. And my daughter had one of those, and I was so scared for her too. Some girl tried to beat her up at the rowdy school. That's why I took them out of them schools and put them in public school. You know what I'm saying? But I was happy she had her own experience that I didn't have to say, go like this.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
The only thing that scares me is like I feel like we survived the eras, the era that we come from or our generation. And I'm afraid that it's not the same strategies, because what we're talking about is mental strategies for our kids to have and understand how they can survive certain situations or get through certain situations. Like for me, what you did, I'd turn on the crazy side of me. Like I said, everybody's scared of the crazy kid. Mm-hmm. So that, it's funny because it follows me to this day. I still got Crazy Hood as the name of my company. Who's Crazy is my slogan. Because when I was young and dealing with the bullies, I was like, all right, man, this ain't the regular approach ain't gonna work. So I'm gonna have to just click and have that crazy look in my eyes and just be willing to do whatever. And eventually that's what scared them away. But it could have gone either way. And sometimes it did. One time I clicked and the dude I was clicking on, he was crazier. He was actually really fucked up. And I learned some valuable lessons in that. But that was the strategy I used. I was like, all right, well, I'm willing to do anything. Because I was into like, I was doing karate. I wanted to be a ninja. I was watching war movies. My dad is a Vietnam vet, so I put that in my mind that I come from the lineage where he fought in the war and I fought in that motherfucking war too. So I put that all in my mind and use that to like try to get through these bullying situations.
Did you make a mental note of, or did you have like that you're like, all right, I'm going to use this strategy next time, or did it just happen naturally for you, just like it did with casual in that instance?
Nah, it happened naturally. Like I
Yeah.
was just building up to a point where, because so I moved from LA to Miami, right?
Yeah.
And it was a huge change for me. You know, different, it's just a whole different environment in Miami than it was in LA when I was growing up. And so like I was adjusting to that, and it was a hard adjustment. And so I realized like I'm not getting through like just being nice or trying to be cool with kids. It was just like all kinds of shit was going on out here. And so I just, like I said, I clicked this crazy side of me. I was like, all right, fuck it. But it came natural because I was already like watching these war movies and watching kung fu flicks. And, you know, you imagine yourself in these situations as a kid because, you know, you have this creative side of your mind. And I was like, I could see myself in the situation. And the other thing I did is I would also say, if my dad could survive in a Vietnam, or I would watch these war movies or World War II movies, if these people could survive this craziness, be in trenches, man, what the fuck is some bully to me? So I would kind of try to put myself like, this ain't nothing compared to what so-and-so went through. And it just became a way of me being like to the point where it carried on for a long time. But there could have been a lot of pitfalls in that because I did do some crazy shit in trying to, in activating my crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm lucky to have survived that and not have been in a, you know, gone in a bad place, hurt people or get hurt. Because, you know, we're making pipe bombs as a kid. I, you know, had the Rambo knives. You know, we was playing ninja, but we was playing ninja for real with the real stars and the real knives and fucking people hitting with sticks and shit and jumping off and shit
and stuff.
All that shit, you know.
From
like
overseas.
Me and my friends wasn't like playing ninja. We was ninjas in our minds. We was ninjas. You know what I'm saying? So I, you know, it scares me though to think I want my kids to learn those strategies. I just don't want them to like take it too far.
Well, I assume that just because how life goes on, most of our kids are living in better areas and situations that we are. And a lot of the world has even changed a lot too. They still got the same things, but they come in different packages. Still got bullies, but they be on the internet more than they actually in your face. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to even try to make them game tight for some stuff we didn't even have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like to us, you could avoid the bully and school was over. I made it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You know, or I really used to be, not to go off on a tangent, but I want to address this too, something we was talking about earlier. There was an anxiety that would be caused by allowing conflict to linger in the hood. Like if I heard somebody had a problem with me, I wouldn't be able to sleep. Or I wouldn't, and so I was like, enough of this. I need to go find that person, not to be most aggressive, but to feel this feeling in my body. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to be like, he gonna be, you know, thinking they could be on any corner or something. And so it changed then people start saying I was over confrontational. No, that ain't what it is. Somebody got a problem. We need to get to the bottom of it right now. And so I'm going to be walking around thinking about ways to deal with you if you're going to get the drop on me or all this dumb stuff. So I would just be, people would be like, why you? No, I'm like, nah. And I'm just like, let's get it over with. And so, again, I was just speaking to that to say that, I mean, there were certain anxieties that if we don't even learn how to address them, because that's what that is. That was like what I think they call it confrontation anxiety. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that at those times. I would just be feeling weird if I had a problem with somebody. And in order to address that directly, I was pulling up. You know what I'm saying? That's how we put it in slang terms now, you know what I mean? But I would be trying to make sure I didn't want the beef, but the feeling that was in my getting beat up felt better than having anxiety until you see a person.
That's a crazy
but I never
way to
been
look
beat up. I always did hands. But we talk about
You never took an L, huh?
Oh no, I got knocked out by a security guard once in my life, but I knocked out plenty of security guards. So that's just it. I never got hands put on, never. Everybody will tell you that. No.
How about you, Kay?
What?
Did you deal with any of this?
How
did you deal with it?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. It was actually when I was younger in like elementary school, I was less kind of I'd get into fights and things like that. You get in these weird fights, especially on like during recess, or get in these weird battles with people and shit like that. I was never really afraid of that. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older that I guess maybe I started thinking about like possible outcomes of confrontation, well, as I start to get older. And then it's not necessarily like the fear sets in, but it's more about like what can I do to potentially avoid this, because it could go in so many different ways, as opposed to when I was younger, it just felt like you're in the mix and you're not really thinking about consequences about it, or not feeling super nervous about it. Because I look at my son and I'm like, he's not very fearful, but there are some times where, like, we moved recently cross country and went to a new school, and he said to me one day, he's like, and there's these two kids that they weren't doing anything to him, but he just felt kind of fearful of him. And I'm like, why are you even afraid of them? That, like, going back to our point, you take karate, right? You can
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're bigger than them. Well, don't even. And I don't necessarily remember myself feeling like that at that age. It wasn't until I was a little bit older that I was more kind of thinking about like, oh, I wonder if this person could take me, or that kind of thing.
Well, for me, and I don't know if my daughters ever had bullies. They never said it to me. I always try to give them some game, hopefully to know how to deal with those people. The best thing is avoiding them. If you ain't got to be around them, they just probably got a problem in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So the best way is to be around them. But if you're in one of them situations, you can't be around them, then get in their grit. Be right up on them. And they think, I'm just saying, this is what's up. Like, let it stop that for one day. Don't let them bully you for 2 days. If they're bullying you today, let that be the last day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gonna keep going.
Pop on that day.
Right.
Else you're gonna be punked.
But social media has changed that, where people might not even be bullies in real life, but they bullying on social media, and you can't really confront them because sometimes they're anonymous. And that's what I feel for the youth right now and for kids growing up, because that's some shit to deal with, because they lose sleep over that shit. Someone commenting some crazy shit.
Hey, how protective are you with your youngest daughters? You said 16 and 18 right now.
Mm-hmm.
How kind of protective have you been with their social media usage and kind of limiting?
I got conquered by the world, dude. I had to just throw my hands up, and I just had to be like, they gonna see it all anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I was trying to do the other stuff and it just wasn't working out. Like trying to, man, you can't do that. Let me put parental this. And then that was making them want to see what was behind the wall more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, you looked at this? And I'm just like, you know what? I ain't want to know what you're looking at no more. Have you ever seen that one episode? And it was an episode of Black Mirror where the lady had monitoring into her child.
Oh yeah. I saw that one.
Yeah. Exactly the result
that was
of
great.
that episode. I was like, I'm not going down that road.
Yeah.
Again, well, basically it was all about her getting too much privilege to see what her daughter was going through, and it was eventually affecting her daughter's natural life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, no, humanity is still the same thing. People don't need that much help. Like,
right.
But do you get worried about, I don't know, when I look around at like teenagers, or recently I was somewhere and there was a dude and he had his daughters with him, and they were just on the phone nonstop. I mean, so much other stuff going on, but glued to the phone. I don't know, man. I worry for these folks that are just glued to their screen on social media feels like 24/7, and I worry about these kids that are like that. So I'm wondering, like, I mean, even if you're not paying attention to like what what they're looking at, was there a time where you were like, all right, look, you're not going to be on the phone this long looking at shit.
You know, the problem with that is my daughters is both straight A students.
Okay, all right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So I'll be like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I can't really be too restrictive. I let them go every place because y'all do everything right. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they start slacking, even a B, then I get to act up and be like, okay. I even caught myself just being all prissy, like, what you got B's for? Knowing I couldn't even get B's. I mean, I could get B's, but I started raising the standard for them so high to where I was like asking myself, are you being ridiculous? Well, on the flip side of that, I think they earn their freedom in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And not having an overarching looking dad is a result of them getting great grades, you know what I'm saying?
So did it affect your career in any way, raising the kids? Do you feel?
Just to make me more economic and less battle rappy. I mean, not with my styles or nothing, because I wouldn't compromise. We make enough to support families as underground battle MCs.
Right.
But it always make you think that, dang, they could be living like Will Smith and them. I just write one of these type of songs. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so that's always on your mind. And you got people pushing you in that direction. I got people who see me as a Biggie style artist from the jump. Like, why you still doing this underground stuff? You got more mass appeal than that. But speaking to what you're saying is the future that I was planning on providing for my family. I thought I would be able to pull it off, and I have been able to without sacrificing or compromising any of my artistry. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I think you and your crew built such a legacy that had you tried to do those Will Smith records, you know, it wouldn't be the same legacy. Like, you got something to be extremely proud of, man, and your kids can, you know, benefit from that probably beyond. You don't even know what the future is with the legacy.
Yeah, you're right. And it could have turned out a lot worse because of those attempts. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like, yeah.
And it's a testament to I think like people who are living it, and we need to be able to expose this more, is just to let people know, like, you can have a long career in this, and you can do it the way you want to do it without, you know, it fizzling out, or you can take care of your family. You know, you guys have been in.
Yeah, I feel Hyro was one of the first to show that lane. To prove it.
And even a testament to this day, I'm getting like paid better off of my first release than I was when I first released it.
That's crazy.
At 30 years later, because streaming wasn't a thing, and you know, now they got 90 stations and they giving you new. But think about it: if streaming wasn't here, it wasn't too many popular radio stations that was gonna be running just 90s hip hop all day. You know what I'm saying? They might have an hour where they ran it, and if you didn't fit into that mix, you wasn't getting no light. Streaming got all these platforms that run 24/7. All different genres of music, and just even you could take my song "That's How It Is." People be surprised off of what that is earning 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always approach it as a humble artist. I mean, you want to be jiggy, go talk to somebody else. But in the sense of humility, if you can beat the average wage in your city, then you're doing cool. Absolutely. If everybody getting $30 an hour, well, say that equate to like 4,500 or 5 bands a month. Well, if you can pull 6 bands a month rapping, you ain't got to be getting 20, 50 bands a month just to support a family, because everybody in your city living off of an average wage. But people like this glitz and glamour appeal to it and don't want to approach it like a real practical, just something I could do to be, you know, feeding the family and not using my hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, success has many different definitions, and everyone thinks the success means like you got to be rich and famous, and that's not it.
When even most people that you perceive as rich and famous ain't really rich and famous either. Like, they're well famous, yeah, but rich the way you think they are, that ain't even a reality. And how easily they, you know, their finances fall apart, and you know, when things stop.
Yeah, people think net worth is a bank account somewhere. Right. Oh, let me go tap in my net worth account. No, that's everything you got if you sell it.
Right.
And you probably ain't ever gonna sell it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Well, look, man, I think we got to wrap up and do some fatherhood duties here in a second. But man, we appreciate you coming through. And anytime you want to, you know, we dug in a little bit, but man, there's a lot more that we could talk about. So if you want to come through again, let's do it.
I'll definitely be willing. Y'all got my line. Y'all got. I'm casual at hieroglyphics.com anyway. It's not hard to get at me. Yeah. And so if y'all ever need anything, even on the West Coast, music, whatever, let me know. Versus whatever we do. Y'all got a project. Y'all know I'm still the killer, man. On that.
We know it. We know it.
So if y'all need anything or want to touch any of the members, Soul's got this 93 date tour coming up.
They coming by here, by Florida to West Palm. I was thinking, I wanted to reach out and see if I could get him to just come down to Miami for a second and do something.
Oh yeah, definitely. We line that up. So let me get a line on you.
Yep.
Well, appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me. And
thanks for coming.
I said what's up, everything. And,
yeah, man. We'll definitely stay connected.
Appreciate you, man. Peace.
Cool. Hey, my channel on YouTube is Smash Rockwell. If y'all, I'll be talking about all kind of different stuff, but a lot of modern topics and ancient knowledge and stuff. I just let everybody know.
Let's put it in the description. Yeah, as well.
Oh, Smash Rockwell. Oh, cool. Thank you. All right.
Peace. Thank you.